Hello, my name is Dylan, and I will be giving you my personal framing statement presentation. My definition of what frames are, or personal frames, is that frames are interpretive lenses that shape our understanding of the world around us according to our specific values and morals, influencing our perceptions and guiding our decisions. So, in other words, it's kind of like the main thing that influences your perspective on everything and also your personality. And I'll go more into that. So, some examples of what frames are. I use color lenses, and they kind of represent more general frames and how they may influence your own personality. So, like a blue lens or the blue color is normally like somebody who like pays attention to the little things. They kind of all their actions have an intention, like they have a purpose in all the things that they do, and they're usually always curious, looking for new ways to look at something. A red lens is somebody who's always trying to find ways to be successful. Someone who's really normally resilient and it takes a lot for them to like give up, and they're very like sure of their thoughts and decisions. Like they choose something and then they just go for it, and they don't really think too hard about what is going to go like after that moment. They're just like kind of in the moment kind of people. Yellow lens is normally like if it's a group, they're like the talker of the group. They're always being social. They often might use their social skills to persuade others to their aid. They're normally like kind of like let's go guys, like always like on the move, and they're always looking for new ways to accomplish a task. Green lens is always putting people first, so they kind of they're always making sure everybody's included, and they prefer to work in groups and kind of like to help people around them, and they're always reliable because they want to make sure that they treat people the way they want to be treated, and that kind of goes with all that. So another thing about frames is they have great benefits. If you have a very like stable personal frame, it makes it a lot easier to make decisions because you already know like how you normally react to something, and it just kind of makes it easier for you. It also it can help you understand how other people think and feel if you have a good understanding of other personal frames, and it similarly it allows for a more stable and consistent way of thinking because you just have your morals and you know what you like and you know what you don't like. So reframing, my definition for that, it's a process of changing the way you perceive a specific person or situation that involves having a different outlook or perspective, often with the desire to understand something new or something different in a specific way. So basically is what it means is you're able to it's the process of changing your own, maybe not personality, but the different way of thinking of things that can help you adapt to how somebody else is feeling or how a different situation is playing out that you're not necessarily used to. So my personal frames, I would say that if, in the version of color lenses that I like, maybe lead with green and blue, they're kind of mixed. But so some preferences I have that are shaped by my frame is that I deeply value honesty. I try really hard to be truthful to both myself and others, and people that I trust, I expect them to do the same. And that just kind of goes with the fact that I care a lot about people. I believe everybody should be honest to a certain respect, and if I put my faith in them, I expect them to be truthful to me. I don't know, it's just something that I've always believed. Kind of leading with more like the blue in the next one is that I often focus on smaller details. I often try to show kindness and friendship in small tasks or favors that I do for others, and the other way around is when others do like when other people pay attention to the small details to do something for me, it means a lot more to me. And that kind of combines both like caring about people and attention to detail, the green and blue. And another thing is just I prefer more one-on-one conversations as opposed to topics in large groups. It helps me I feel like I connect to people a lot easier, and I respect that when people have the confidence to have a more one-on-one conversation. It doesn't have to be serious. It could just be anything, but I'd say that's more like a green color lens than a yellow, because I'd say yellow people always want to be in a group. I like groups, but I prefer more one-on-one conversations if I'm trying to discuss anything. Some strengths and some strengths and weaknesses of my personal frame. Some strengths is I'm very organized in the way I go about my life and how I organize the spaces around me, which I mean by like my routine, and also how I like my room. Like I have everything where I want it. I know what I want to do every day. I wouldn't say I have every minute of my day planned out, but I have a good idea of what I want to get done that day. Like hopefully before or in the morning, in the beginning of the day. I often emphasize with others, both emotionally and cognitively, and it makes it easier for me to match their energy. I can normally tell when somebody's like down, and I try not to like just continue my like I won't try to like be loud and obnoxious if I know that they need like more quiet. Like it helps matching another person's energy, makes it easier to communicate with them, and I've gotten okay at that. Some weaknesses is the thing about like dealing with small detail stuff, it also leads to overthinking situations and past events. That's just a problem that I always have to deal with sometimes. It's the other side of small details. I often take little issues personally that kind of builds upon that, and it doesn't matter how important they are, just sometimes I might take things in a personal way. But I also, having everything planned out, I often can feel like I'm wasting time if I don't have some things planned out, and I'm not making the most out of my day. So that's just little weaknesses that go with the way the frame that I use, shaped by my experiences and all that. So for organizational leadership, how frames help leaders lead an organization. So one thing is that they provide, for leaders, like having a frame, it provides valuable perspectives on how customers view a product or organization. And what I mean by that is that an organization, or being a leader of an organization, is like you need to be able to understand how other people, well, what their needs are, or what they feel they need. And my example of that was like if you've ever seen like Air, like the movie, like Nike's culture, like they don't really need more shoes necessarily, but they feel they need to be part of that culture, to feel like they want those morals, those they want to align with the morals of the company. And as a leader, understanding that perspective is important. And another thing is this, it helps to find the best way to work on projects depending on workers' personalities. And we discussed in class those kind of like different types of work dynamics. And understanding frames of people in your company, you may understand how one person wants to just do something themselves and then turn it in and contribute to a project, while others want to all work together at the same time on one thing at a time. And understanding how different people want to work on something is important, because then you will know how a set of people will get a project done the most efficiently. And how does reframing help leaders make decisions? It's important to understand all perspectives, because it affects customers and employees alike, because you need to understand like how different employees feel for like projects, but also for like to keep them like motivated and happy and feel successful in your company. But also customers, because you want them to be happy and you want to accommodate their needs and to keep your company moving forward instead of just staying in place, because you won't change. And yeah, I think that kind of just covers those. And another one is it helps to challenge like leaders' own ideas with different perspectives. And I had an example. So in 2008, Starbucks was like expanding rapidly, and they wanted to make sure that they didn't seem like a fast food restaurant, that they were still like a coffee shop, like one of those coffee shops like on campus that like all feel a little bit more unique than just like going to Starbucks. And basically Starbucks didn't want to feel like the nationwide coffee shop that like is the exact same. So they did something where they trained their baristas to basically be better. They had like a training, and that was very important for them because it made customers feel like even though Starbucks had a lot of locations, that their coffee did not feel like a copy depending on where you went. Like every Starbucks is different. That was like their goal, so that they all had their own unique personality, and that was something that challenged their own ideas of just making as much money and going and making as many locations as possible while also improving the quality at the same time, not just the quantity of restaurants. So that it kind of shows a different frame of perspective. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much.